All right, ladies and gents, welcome to a big series in the third round here in Hidden Cup 5 qualifiers, featuring two players that have been in Hidden Cups before. Now, a lot of time has passed, and we are in a new era. Age of Empires and Tato seems to be the big favorite here, but Fire has been around a long time. Would love to make it back to Hidden Cup, where he was in the past. Now, Fire's gone for the Magyars here on slopes. We then have Tato playing as the Mongols. Tato wasting no time here, pushing in his deer from the sides of his base. But slopes, you also have deer on the other side as well. So one of the matchups where I think you just have to make a mill on the side of the hunt here, right? Like, I know Tato may wish to just push in as many deer as he can here, but the other deer is still going to be there. Definitely going to mean more aggression coming from Tato. So Tato actually shifted on the wood a bit earlier. So he did this because he doesn't need as much on food because of how quickly the food's coming in. But this, to me, is an early indicator that Tato may actually want to go for something other than scouts. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. But yeah, Fire, he beat Rubenstock in the first round. And Rubenstock is a really well-known player, but has been really inactive. And it was a very scrappy, messy series from both of them. And I'm trying to remember, Fire then beat Draken in the second round, which again was a good series. Draken's always a tough player because he does practice and whatnot. But having covered all the games, I honestly, just being straight up, I didn't think that Fire's opponents were playing insanely well compared to some of the other first and second round opponents that I'd seen out there. So I do come in here thinking that with Tato being the number one seed in the qualifier, that Tato is going to be the big favorite here today. And so this might entail some spoilers for people later on YouTube, in all honesty. But basically what we've talked about here on stream, because Heart and Vivi happens in 10 minutes, that it might make sense to plan to cast that series from the start. Because I just have full belief in a Tato 3-0 in the series. I just do. Right? But if Fire wins this first game, we all freak out. We don't leave the series, and we continue on. That's kind of our plan. Unfortunately, with overlapping sets, we have to make a game plan. But dang. So Fire is the Magyars here. He's also pushing in some deer. And if Fire can just compete with that early feudal age with the Mongols here, I actually really like the Magyars. Really cheap scouts. Forging upgrade can be really helpful there in the scout war. And remember I mentioned that Tato went early on wood. Tato's banking up the wood. We'll see what it's for, but Tato pushed in so much deer here. Tato didn't find these sheep. He didn't take these sheep yet. They're simply just chilling. They're getting as much food as possible right now. But yeah, it's going to be tough. Someone says, brutal for Fire to meet Tato 1 round before he gets the second chance. Well, it's kind of brutal for everyone in the same way, right? You only get the second chance if you're one of the final 12 players. So it's pretty difficult to get there. I actually think in some ways Fire has actually had easier first round and second round than maybe some other players. So, but yeah, running into Tato here is not going to make things feel too great for you. And like we said, Tato going to gold. Is this a fast castle from Tato? 21 pop is way later than he would have had to have done. He's still pushing in deer. He's going 3 to gold. I mean, he could easily still go for a feudal age play, and the timing's going to be relatively similar. I think this might be like fast castle lancers from Tato. But by the way, he's going to lose some food. That's going to be good for Fire to take away from him. This, to me, feels like Tato is going to try something funky here. I mean, it's not something Tato has to try. His food count's going up. It just feels like the kind of the Beery play Fast Castle Lancers. And he's still going to come over here and try and take more hunt. And Fire's just going to go for Scouts, which is your more typical build. There's the stable. Things will get very interesting here. And Tato really taking some... I would consider this a risk in some ways, right? Like, you do not need to, if you think you're the favorite, try a fast castle. I think Fire sees this. Like, Fire's an incredible player still. And yeah, that deer is not going to get pushed in there because Fire's going to see that and attack that scout. And the scout could even die here. Fire's got to be like, why isn't Tato up yet? This is crazy. Keep in mind, that 200 food Tato did not get could make the difference in some small moments here. I really like Fire's position to get a win here in this first game, guys. Oh my goodness. Fire, who in-game, we had to change it for professional reasons. The in-game name is Mr. Gordo here. Mr. Gordo making scouts, making spears. He should know now. And if you know that Tato's doing this, you do not want to be out on the outer sides at all. At least not for very long. You want to get your walls down. Tato barely has the food here to be able to get up. He's going to drop the market. Like, he is at the limit. Now Fire stopping the quick wall, and Fire's got scouts everywhere. And I mean, this is not an easy map to take resources on. And this, Tato's out of food. I hate that Tato's tried this for his chances. Now let's just ramp it up another notch here, okay? So the loser here is out, right? There's no recovery, right? A lot of people seem to think it's going to be Fire that's out, but Tato trying to go step lancers in the Castle Age. He's on his way up to Castle Age. He barely has food income for the time being. He sold all of his stone. Fire is patrolling around. He's hoping to find damage. He will know this is step lancers, so he should be planning on walls around his TC at home. And Fire wants to take Tato off of this gold. What a good call from him. Because a big reason Tato's even going to have a chance here is because he has to buy the food. And you can't buy the food if you don't have gold. Not to mention, Tato does not have stone. So, Tato not having stone and not seeing this, and, you know, there's a whole host of problems here. Really big issue for him. What pick was Mongols? That's a good point. I'm not really sure how heavily Tato prioritized this, but he's going to have to be really creative here because Fire's going to be on his gold, and Tato will have to leave it. There's nothing Tato can really do about that except try and find another gold, and the other gold is very exposed right now. So now what you would do is you would want to sell things to get gold, but now it's like you're selling resources you don't have a lot of to get gold, which you don't have a lot of. It's tricky. Nice shot from Fire. Tato moves directly over to the gold, does have 4 spearmen here to protect. Fire cannot tower this one. But Fire will bring spears over. He'll bring his scouts over and try and take an engagement. Tato, 13 minutes and 37 seconds. 13:37. He is up to the next stage, and he is going to make 2 Lancers. Now, these Lancers can micro with that one range, and they can focus down the spears. They can focus down the scouts. They can eventually focus down Fire's villagers. Okay? The Lancers can be really strong, but they still take damage from the spears. And still, Tato is to push this back somehow with way less in the way of numbers. He's going to get the micro. He's going to start microing there. Tato will have just 2 Lancers. And these spears. Fire should stay in feudal and just make tons of feudal age army. Res collected for Fire should be much better long term. Fire doesn't have the stone yet for another tower. He's actually just going to mine this stone. This is incredible. Now, Tato, having walled in his gold and his wood and kind of his berries, he's going to counterattack now. And this is Fire's point of view. And Fire doesn't see the Lancers anymore, so he might start to send spears at home. But he only has 1 spear at home, and Tato's here. Tato could go in. Tato hasn't lost a villager yet, and he's going to kill one. This is insane, dude. This is insane. It's not fair. It's just simply not fair. He shouldn't have a chance with this. Okay, Step Lancers go in here. See the Spearmen. Tato going to micro nerd with the Step Lancers. By the way, everyone knows who started the Step Lancer meta, right? When it comes to the pros, that is. Because a lot of people, as Tato has to leave, weren't making Lancers for some time. It was Tato. Tato was the one to do it. And it was in the biggest moment at Red Bull 6 when he won that final. Still microing over here, Tato. These Lancers are so annoying. Tato left his gold. He doesn't really have a lot of it. But the Lancers are killing so much. The micro from Tato. Fire's lost more villagers. Fire's still in feudal age. This must feel like... maybe Fire feels a little flexed on even at this point. As he does still deny the gold. This is a wild strategy for Tato. And still needs crazy defense. Nice shot from Fire. Fire's spears have done great. And, like, I mean, if Fire gets through there, it could be game over. At any point, Tato is so close to being broken here. This is... Tato has 4 Lancers and a dream right now. Oh, man. And he's... Oh, man. It's not a dream for these villagers. It's a nightmare. More villagers going down. How is this happening? Tato. Spearman attack. Look at him. Oh, another villager went down for Fire, though. Fire! Fire's in 28 vills and in feudal. Tato can barely take resources. But he can micro these step lancers. Oh, man. Spears into the TC ever so slightly. Is this tower fully walled in? See, Tato can't move out because that's a lot of scouts. He's going to try and wall behind this, but Fire knows that Tato must be over there. So Tato's... Yeah, Fire sees that. Fire can barely take resources. Tato can barely take resources. And Tato's up against Magyar scouts, and he's going to fight. The Spearman's still there. Tato will take heavy losses. The spears for Fires are out of position. Tato made a camel, though. And he still killed villagers over here. So he probably still feels like this is fine. And Fire is losing most of his scouts. His Spearman dive underneath the TC. Tato quick walls it. Scouts still going down. Villagers still fighting. 1 Lancer went down 2. And this is a low eco crazy game. But Tato, I think he remembers this goal this year. And he's going to run out there. Will Fire remember that? You always have a gold side and a stone side there. Fire's still going to make more scouts as he should. Tato has wood. Tato has a little bit of food. But Tato, like, this wood line is going to get harassed by the spears. You can't have those spears hitting your wood line, so he's just going to run again. He's going to go to the other wood. At least Tato has gold yet again. This has been a fun game. This really brings back some Huang memories, right? You don't see low eco games like this in tournaments very frequently. I mean, Huang barely played tournaments, but this is absolutely winnable for Fire. Because Tato can't make much more than 3 Lancers. So if Tato looks away for a second and loses these Lancers to the spears, it's brutal. But with Tato's micro and unit control, he can also just do this and pick off more vills and be a real pain, and Fire's distracted, and the Lancers have been completely led, or that Lancer has led the Spearman astray, and another villager goes down. That's beautiful. Tato's just nerding all over him right now. And he's going to get another one. That's villager number... Well, no. She's very weak, but she is not dead. So Tato's now really heavy on stone. Heavy on stone where I think he might actually want to switch to Mangudai, which is another unit that you can micro like crazy with and would be good against the spears. So sometimes when players are using the market a lot, you see this and you assume they're just going to sell resources. I don't actually think that's what Tato is planning on doing. I actually think he might want to make the castle. Tato will lose more vills. Tato is tied with Fire on vills, so to lose more would be painful. But again, he is in Castle Age. A nice job from Fire here. And now Tato is going to make a run for it, but Fire's going to see him. What is this game? And where'd the Lancers go? The Lancers are here. Okay. Fighting with villagers against Magyar scouts. Not something that I thought we would see today. But it is what is happening. Tato is like completely abandoning his eco right now. And he's going to bring his Lancers home. The fact that the Lancers are coming home is actually really good for Fire, though. Because Fire's has, like, good, nice farming setup. Fire can breathe a little bit. And Tato's going to drop a town center on the stone. Huh. So he has... How many villagers in his main eco? 2? He has 2 villagers in his starting eco. Then he's got 5 over here. And then he's got the rest. So 22 over here. The Step Lancers beat Scouts. Fire's going to see this. Oh, Fire doesn't see it, actually. But Fire has to know. Fire might actually look over here because of this. And Tato, maybe sensing that, is going to run away. Tato needs gold, though. So, like, those villagers are really important. Fire is 15 spears right now. Wait, did Tato sell his stone? Tato sold his stone and he's going to boom now? Oh. So he got rid of... Look at the left side. He sold off his stone to get resources. And actually, Fire checked this. There's only one vill here. These vills from Tato. Wouldn't it be funny if he mills the food here? He found a couple of villagers here with the Lancers again. Tato's killed 16 vills. Tato does not know if this is the stone side or the gold side. He's hoping this is gold. But it is the stone area. So those vills. Still not going to give Tato any gold income. And he's going to actually lose the gold that was in his hands there too because he clicked the fish. But yeah, Tato might just want that food income. Nice little boost of food income there for him. But yeah, like, okay, Tato clickwalled this. What a nerd. Honestly, guys, like, Tato is taking a risk with this, right? Because he is the favorite. Loses a Lancer. You don't need to take these types of risks if you think you could play standard and be fine. But at the same time, if you can, it is a really wild strategy. And it has worked. He hasn't won the game, right? But it has given him a nice lead, which is what the Mongols always like, so they can get into their Mangudai. Towers are going up everywhere from Fire, all around Tato's starting TC, which is hilarious to me. Like, at what point does Tato stop creating vills here? Tato might lose this town center to towers at some point. But Fire's eco is unfortunately a bit of a wreck. He hasn't been able to click up yet. And still we have Tato waiting for a castle. Catching up on eco as well, but... if he can get a castle and start making Mangudai, it should be amazing against the spears, which is what I think Tato is planning on here. But no access to gold for Tato is a problem. It's a really big problem. We'll have enough stone to get a castle, though. But where does he place it so he can get gold? The gold is through the middle, which he cannot take. The gold is at home. Okay, actually, I think he tries to make the castle... in an area that shoots down that tower, if I had to guess. I think Fire is going to try and tower this to deny this stone or something. Fire's collected 2,000 more resources, but is still stuck in feudal. Man, could he use a market right now. A market just to buy some food and click up to Castle Age would be so good for him. Tato, buying the stone. The Vill's garrison. So yeah, these Vills are part of the plan, right? And he's waiting for the stone. He's going to get it. He's going to drop the castle right here. He's going to delete 2 farms. He's going to drop the castle there is my guess. Yep, that's perfect. That's perfect. Because the castle can't be denied. And the castle shoots down that tower. And if that tower is not a problem, then you end up getting the gold. He does actually tower this, which is a little awkward. I don't think you necessarily want to invest into a tower here, but he's just going to do it. The Tato will have a villager lead, and Tato will be on Mangudai, and his opponent's in Feudal Age. And poor Fire, man. Again, I would feel like... It's not a meme strategy. It is a good strategy, but it is high risk, high reward, and typically the best players don't take the high risk, high reward approach unless they think they just can, you know? And I know Fire, he'll be realistic. He'll know he's not the favorite in this series. And I think this is just going to kind of reinforce that feeling. And we'll see. I mean, that tower, it's going to try and deny the gold again. So that's actually a nice move, but Mangudai will come out. I think the tower will actually go up, though. Tato might need to counter tower it. Yep, Tato's going to counter tower it. I like that tower a lot from Fire. But he still can't really do anything once Tato just counter towers it. Mangudai are still on the way here for Tato. His counter tower will go up. He does not have fletching yet. So his tower and his Mangudai will need that. He'll probably get that in a second, though. And there's fletching now for Fire. Fire's on the way to Castle Age. Vill count is actually even. What a unique game here. And Tato, 2 TCs, making more villagers, so he will pull ahead. Also does have that 1 Vill on gold, but doesn't have a lot on gold for the time being. And when he moves out, he's going to run into towers. So, you know, Mangudai production's going to be solid, but Fire's just really been a pain. and has done what he can to delay Tato. Crazy game. Now, what do you want if you're Fire here? Ideally, you'd actually maybe want, like, Cav Archers or something in Castle Age. But I actually like his approach. He's going to make more scouts because they're cheap and because it's something he can do now. And the goal will be stopping Tato's Mangudai from advancing forward here. And no upgrades yet for Tato. Will be awkward, but it's another problem for Spearman here. And now it's like there's way more range on Mangudai than the Step Lancers. So now it's way less likely the Spearmen have any effect. Fire's still... He's just like repairing in and out. Repair with his tower. And he will not leave here with the scouts. Because if Tato's going to be tempted to Vil Rush that, and then the scouts will go in and kill the Vils. Really smart from Fire. Also, shout out to those 2 geese that are still there. Fire goes for defensive tower here because of the Mangudai presence. His walls and his base and whatnot look really messy for him. But Fire will be in Castle Age at 35 minutes. But he'll be in Castle Age. 35 minutes, not your typical Castle Age time. But also 13:37 is not your typical Castle Age time. And Tato, this is smart. He ran forward here. He dropped a house foundation and a palisade. And he's just got that one villager. And that one villager is going to help with the tower war. Someone says it is for me. What a funny game. Well, Bodkin Arrow now on the way for Tato, but 2 Mangudai here. They could be picked off. Now, Tato did research husbandry earlier. Those Mangudai should actually be pretty quick. Apparently, oh, that's funny. So the scouts were 1.55 speed, but when you get Light Cav, it actually makes your units slightly slower. And now it's 1.50 speed. At 1.55 speed, he would have been 0.01 faster than the husbandry Mangudai. So now he's just slightly slower, which is not actually what you want, but upgrading to the Light Cav, of course, does make sense. But now, Tato has an eco lead. He has his best unit in the Mangudai, producing out of a castle. He's got 2 TCs. He's going to have the 3rd TC, and it almost feels like a normal game state now. With, Eco and Mangudai. And so you really need, like, skirmishers or something. And Siege is really not the best of options against Mangudai because they have a bonus against Siege. So, like, Fire's going to try, but I think it's going to be very unlikely he's going to accomplish anything with Siege in this position, especially with the castle being so close. And Tato's just pulling ahead. Fire's Monk there, hoping for a conversion. Doesn't get it. Tato's still backing away. Tato's still focusing down the Light Cav. But Fire sacrificing Light Cav so he can complete the Siege Workshop. Tato now getting Bloodlines to make the Mangudai even stronger. We have the University now so we can get Ballistics. Fire's still in this. But what a unique game. Maybe the most unique Slopes game? Actually, I take that back. Because we saw the Ganji Ozone game was also insane. The MBL Capwatch game was insane. We've just had some wild games on this map. And Tato going for this strategy. Just wild to me. Anyone else just really impressed that he somehow got to this point? Like, it's nuts. Fire's played it so well. And the fact that Tato has been able to somehow get away with this is unbelievable. Which really goes to say why everyone thinks he's the favorite in this series. It's because he had, like, no resources. Micros down the Mangudai with... the Mangonel with 2 Mangudai. Like, he had 3 Step Lancers and couldn't produce anything else. He couldn't take wood. He couldn't take stone. He couldn't take gold at various points. His main base was abandoned. He's losing his starting town center to towers. This is not normal. And yet, Tato, Mr. Inevitable, 75 eco, and getting the ballistics upgrade now. And it's like, honestly, at this point... I don't even know. The main gold's important, but it's not like Tato can't shift over to some other areas, maybe. And I think Tato maybe wants to clear this, drop a castle on this hill to deal with the towers, and that could maybe be the end of it. Let's see. It'd be a crazy end to what has been a crazy game from Tato. Oof, big shot. Fire's still sticking around. Ballistics is in for Tato. And, ooh, Tato drops a castle there now. And guard tower. I was going to say, how does he deal with the gold then? Another thing Tato kind of started. We don't see guard tower too much these days. But there was a period in time when towers, before they were nerfed, Tato was the tower guy. He started the guard tower defense trend. It was actually one of the things in Hidden Cup main event, Hidden Cup 3, that Viper did to throw people off the scent. He was trying to fake like he was Tato when he thought he was winning games. So a lot of people, including myself, kind of took the bait at times. Regroup really hurts Tato there. But guard tower defense and the Mangudai hold. And that's yet another castle. And now Fire's got to be looking at this like, are you kidding me? I can't push his gold anymore. And now he's got a castle here too. He's probably like, how? And the GG's called and Tato wins the game. And that was just a phenomenal game from Tato. So well played. And poor Fire, if he wasn't feeling outclassed already, he probably is after that. That was just so unique from Tato to try that. 13:37 castle time. He didn't really have many resources to work with. His Fire kept up this amount of pressure, but Tato, he adapted so nicely here. The escape move was great. Here, using this at a various point was good. He snuck down here, took all that food, ended up building TC here. Ends the game with guard tower, double castle, Mangudai, one of the best unique units, ballistics. Like, just beautiful play from Tato. And Res collected should be an interesting one. Fire is actually ahead in resources collected. But he just kept losing so many units. And even though this balance is typically better, I think having the stone is never a bad thing when you're Mongols. And obviously from this point on, the worker count is so big for Tato. He will eventually, with 4 town centers producing villas against 1, will just steamroll. And the Mangudai can't be stopped at this stage. The siege push doesn't work much more for Fire. He tried, but again, crazy game from Tato.